Greetings everyone, here's Lodrik again, and this is the game won the Pacific Admits Edition, and this is my play by email match against Xargun. He's Allied Commander, and for me it is the Empire of Japan. Scenario 1, standard game version 26B, and the last day of February 42. Means I then have only left the march with the Japanese invasion bonus to unload much faster over the beaches. Some task forces emerging east of New Zealand. And now my first wave of Japanese troops arriving at Gisborne. And I unload here some troops. This has the consequence that Xargun get now this emergency reinforcements equipment. Roughly 2 divisions and maybe 3 divisions in all together equipment. It is a boost for the Allies, that for sure, but I think it's the smallest invasion bonus compared to India, Australia or America. They are bigger. Of course, New Zealand is smaller, there's less to gain. I really never play it so long, so deep in the game war that I can really judge if it makes sense. But I take more or less, I attempt to take New Zealand to cut eastern shipping. And New Zealand could be a really strong bastion and hard to take for the Allies. If they really take it or ignore it is the other question. Of course, it's the end of the supply line for me. Here's a corvette somewhere in the ocean. Nothing happens. But step by step, so first I bring in some scout troopers to take the base. Once the base is secured, I can unload more additional troops without have this unloading loss issue. Good, I sweep Bendwing because I expected more or less this will be the #1 defense hex for the Allies on Java. And there's a lot of Air Force, but no cap is active. Some ground attacks, again there's already defeated Palm Bang leftover forces. And my Betty Bomber's still trying to sink here the enemy submarines. Once I have the Helen bombers, I could maybe shift this anti-submarine activity to the Army Air Force, but up to now I can use my torpedo bombers. I don't really have other use for my torpedo bombers. At least I have some air wings for this kind of secondary duty for sub-hunting. They have the range, and they also running with 250 kilogram bombs. If I know there's a big Navy clash battle, then I can maybe bring all my Nell and Betty bombers to the location very fast. They have a very long range. I think they can make 55 or 70 hexes per turn transport or change of base. Good, this is the second the rest of my unloading. I try to unload everything in one day so there's less reaction. This New Zealand operation, the Tahiti raid was at the end too slow, let's say this. The idea was normally I go out, find some convoy, destroy the convoy, and then return. Then I find no convoy, then I stay in Tahiti, try to sink the ships, but for some reason the game don't allow me to attack any ships in a dot base. And so I have now the issue that I have this operations at New Zealand with only minimum cover forces. A little risky, and so I have to maybe go in, go out, go in, go out, and only unload what is necessary possible. So this is the last Chinese 7th Army war area forces. Only the base fort is left now, the others are destroyed. This unit is, this was here, this was a block force, maybe Xargun keep here too. Yeah, so I destroy this unit and in 1 or 2 months it's come back. This is game rules, so it makes sense to destroy Chinese corps as allies player if they have less than 10% of active combat units. Because you get them back with 20%, but 30%. So you win even. Good, the Mongolian Chinese army is also now really defeated. I think this was the last active, I think there's nothing more disabled, so they are now all disabled or destroyed combat units. And my tanks fighting here with this already defeated, but half broken Chinese unit, but the terrain is too strong. Yeah, maybe another day. A little more bombardments, preparing for the next attack. Pin down here 2 more units, taking some dot bases. And this Dutch unit is still holding, but I blow up the last fort. Casualties are equally, this means I hope the enemy have less morale now. In this round the enemy defender get a bonus and I have a minus, so next round new dice roll. It's only very small sideshow. And these Dutch forces have no retreat, so if once they are defeated, they must give up. So no, nothing happens. So this was a February, a little slow. I lost a little time, 2-3 days. I could save if I have better or link up some operations, but it's nearly impossible. Somewhere you make mistakes, and you cannot play non-stop at 100% without any mistakes. Some mistakes cost you ships, some mistakes cost you time. Today I lost here only 1 small bomber with the pilot. Okay. There was no ship engagement, no sinking sound, so everything is fine. In China, I achieve here local victory, so I can now walk to this next. But I think here's a bigger Chinese forces. Half of this unit is maybe this escaping Chinese army is broken, and then there are more block units. So I would guess that Xargun used this hex because this is triple defense and his forward bastion, or it says lock, to save Sichuan. And I think it's very hard to overcome. You can see how I struggle here in this high mountains and here in this high mountains, and this is the same. This is all triple. So that is a very slow progress. But at the end, I don't really care so much this Sichuan area. I took Xi'an, I took the highway, and now I can bring my Mongolian army and maybe other Japanese forces to take Lenchao, the number 1 goal, and maybe the next 2-3 cities here. Once I have this, it's normally done. At the same time, my southern area is also more or less in the next stage to take these two cities. Once I take these two cities, I have already a street going to Shanghai, and if I once take the highway, it's all fine. So if I take this all plus the northern area, all of this rest is normally the next stage of conquering in China. That is bonus, not a must-have. I think for Japan, it's really easy or much better if you can take this central southern area to have better flow of materials, and take the northern part with the oil to starve the Chinese of supplies, and maybe create your own heavy industry here a little more in China, Manchukuo. Anyway, so I must here fight once more, so I lose here 1 day more or less. So yeah, my my Wenchao army. This is more or less the next army group I built up here. I have one army group for going to open here the highway and then maybe go north. Then I have this Wenchao army, will be the central Japanese army, will go more or less direction of Changsha, coming from behind, because if I can take these three cities, it's very hard to maintain the position in Changsha. I don't want to really fight in Changsha, I want threaten the position so the Chinese must retreat. I don't want to destroy the units, they will come back anyway, and I don't need points, so I want only have the infrastructure under control. Good. Nothing more in China, nothing about Burma. There is this corvette, maybe a forward post boat. My submarine was, I think, low on torpedoes, yeah, so I call it back. Okay, sooner or later I must have here maybe some action, but I will build up Port Blair and have here, once I have here an airfield of level 3 or even 4, I think it's much easier to take on all of these British Navy units in the Indian Ocean. The problem is with Rangoon or here in this air base, if I use Navy bombers out of these two bases, they always have the risk and tendency that if Xargun keep here some ships in this area, they maybe try to attack here, and there could be a very strong cap. So if I have Navy bombers out of Port Blair, I can more or less limit the range to this area. There's no enemy cap trap really possible. Maybe with a carrier, but this is another topic. Nothing else here. I prepare to take first everything else and not Bendoing. Bendoing I wait. Of course it would be, if Bendoing would be less defended, that was more or less a rush, and Xargun was more or less giving up all of Java to only hold Bendoing, and then it's impossible. If the allied player do this, and you cannot stop him. There was a moment maybe I could go directly faster, but hindsight is other topic. I prepare also my next combat group for my strike for Darwin. Darwin have a stronger garrison, maybe one division is here, plus a bunch of aircraft. So I must bring here all of my carrier support, because maybe there's a strong airstrike coming for my invasion fleet. More I cannot say. And the hot topic now, the new front line is here at Gisborne. I was able to unload more or less all of my troops, but not all of my supplies. Okay, there's a super little mini left unit. Some support guys, but it's okay. Important is I have here now roughly 150 attack value. I think this is enough to take on this small garrison. And more is waiting outside of the range of normally enemy aircraft. And I have still these 3 AMs, so I know already that they are AMs and not destroyers or anything else. Here's also my new task force, normally hunting down these AMs. I was guessing where he will maybe run, but he run now this direction. So maybe I can destroy this task force tomorrow. We will see. Most important is this was the danger spot, that there's an aircraft coming and striking me in the moment I unload my ships. This is always a critical spot. Hard to really counter this if you don't have carrier support nearby. But there was no air action. And now I can more or less leave the hex and try to get distance. Distance means less likely to be attacked by air power. Once I take the base, I can fly in my own fighters, and then I have local cap, and then the situation is much more safe. But nothing is 100% safe, of course. Good, then see you next time. Take care, bye bye.